Hello everyone, and welcome to today, which I'm going to give you, because the summer is now over, summer season is over, and all that stuff is done. I did this, so I decided to stick with every year I would do, to go back to a film I watched earlier this year that I was not too happy with, and I'd at least give it another chance. And I think it was in 2014, it was Edge of Tomorrow. Last year it was Inside Out, and this year it is Batman v Superman, because I have a Superman shirt on. And the movie is Superman vs. the Elite. Here to show my personal fan love and affection for Superman. And I do love Batman and Wonder Woman equally, but Superman is just my all-time favorite. Nevertheless, today I personally decided to watch the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition online, mainly because of, two things. Number one, I was too damn lazy to get it at the store, and the second thing is that I don't want to waste my precious money on such a thing, or I won't waste my money on a movie that I don't care for. So you may say, okay, Jacqueline, why watch it then? Well, I did it so I could give this movie another chance. Now, if you remember my review for the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman back in March or May at least, I hated that film. I mean, I really, really hated that film. Now, rewatching my video recently again, didn't I overreact? Maybe 20 smidge a bit, but I do feel like my opinions on it are still so valid. And let's just kind of get into this. For the record, this cut of the movie is 3 hours long. Just like with any extended cut of a movie, like either it's Lord of the Rings or Kingdom of Heaven, whatever it may be, it will always make the film longer. So I feel like, this movie is 3 hours and 10 minutes long. 3 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm like, fuck me, that was a long movie, and it did kind of drag out. Now, the first thing I want to talk about of this is definitely the introduction of the movie, which is takes place in Egypt, or at least in Africa, and it takes place with Jimmy Olsen, and how they kind of introduce him to the story, and yet they kind of kill him off kind of way too abruptly. And I know, as a comic book as someone who loves the comics, it's Jimmy Olsen was never the most compelling of the characters, and he never made that big of an impact or anything. He wasn't really the most important character ever, but it's he had this place, and he's a bit annoying, but it was okay. And the way they kind of used him in this movie kind of felt like they did it in a way that comic would have done it too. So it's I don't care for it, but it's more longer, and it definitely adds more reasoning of why that intro is of that, and why there's almost like a strike and this surrounding town, and Lois Lane is there, and Superman kind of saves her, and there's people there too. But it's Superman's somewhat framed of, killing innocent civilians and putting them under the check in the American government. It's kind of, that's kind of going about. But not just that. There's so many subplots, like with Wonder Woman, being introduced into this movie, Zod's body and how they bring around Doomsday, Batman, Superman going through the story of Batman. It's holy shit, I haven't seen this many subplots in a superhero movie since The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And while I will say The Amazing Spider-Man 2 isn't a perfect movie, this movie makes The Amazing Spider-Man 2 look like The Dark Knight. That's how bad it is. Aside from just seeing how many subplots there were, how were they overall? Especially after seeing the extended cut. And I would definitely say there's more reasons, and they give more backstory. It's much more cohesive and focused then, and it always gives certain reasons, but it to me is it never really justifies the reasons. It's yes, it's longer, you're giving certain reasons, but it's I still don't care. They're really not that good, to be honest. There's also a part in this movie, another subplot, like I said, Clark Kent kind of investigating Bruce Wayne, and investigating Bruce Wayne under the view of the Daily Planet, and how they want to get these two to clash together, and also how Lex Luthor ties up in between their relationship. Also, the rated R rating for this movie is completely pointless. There's a couple of naked shots of Bruce Wayne, which I think is stupid. I mean, it's just dumb for me. Really, I'm like, I don't want to, but, and there's some really, I wouldn't say pointless blood, but there's some really, it's unneeded, and I felt like it really didn't add much to the experience, in my opinion. So for me, yeah, the rated R rating for this completely pointless, and there's no reason for that to exist at all. Also, there's also a part of this movie where Lois Lane investigates these type of weird bullets that are made by Lex Luthor and how she goes down that some type of a rabbit hole story, essentially. And I'm just like, I really couldn't care less for that, because as great as an actor Amy Adams is, for me, is like, personally speaking, I can never get into any performance she's in. For me, it just feels like she's working with such stale and boring dialogue, and she brings no life, no charm, no anything to it. It feels like she's just giving plain, boring, dull delivery. Such a delivery to the movie, and I'm just sitting here kind of like in shock about, like, she's a really great actress. She's a seriously great actress. All these actors are. But it's like, they got nothing to work with. And the way you give the performances feel often stale and bored at times, in my opinion. The only person who I legitimately liked as a character was Bruce Wayne, of anyone else in this movie. And I thought, and particularly of the side of Bruce Wayne, for me at least, was interesting enough. I liked, while I wouldn't say, it's like the most, I wouldn't really say, it's like the most like a comic, really, but it feels more like, what they're trying to do their own little thing, which I do admire towards a degree, but it's like, there's so many things where it's like, it's so anti-Batman. Batman does not kill. He lets the police handle that part. He essentially brings him to the police. He kind of leaves like a bit of a snake trail for the police, so you can catch up with the thieves with Batman in the turmoil of it. Batman in this movie, fuck that. He's just Dredd now. He's judge, jury, and executioner. And I'm like, seems really out of character and really unneeded and really insulting to the character of Batman. And I feel that was really upsetting. That's why I only liked half of that. I really did enjoy Bruce Wayne. His performance of Bruce Wayne, I'm like, alright, I'm not loving it, but I'm like, I'm at least interested in where it's going, at least. And, that's the only good thing I say about that. Also, like, there's also a setup of Gina Malone's character. I forgot the actor who played her, at least. That was totally unneeded and wasted, to be very honest. And a lot of moments that kind of feel like, all the moments that seem in the theatrical cut, you're like, oh, that made no sense, or that went nowhere, there's no basis for this. This movie does give reasons, like I said before, it gives reasons, but in my view, it doesn't justify them. It's like, yes, you give reasons why they should be in this story, but for me, it's like, I'm still kind of like, still, no matter what, it doesn't help the experience. It makes it feel like more of a jittered movie. So much shit they're trying to cram into this movie. It doesn't feel like they're trying to make a good, cohesive, well-made movie. It feels like they're just trying to make a universe of this. It's like, oh, let's make this a foreboding of the future. Let's make this, instead of part of the movie, this dialogue talking about the future. The cameos of The Flash and Aquaman were really forced. Are really not that interesting. The only one who I really somewhat did like was probably The Flash, to be very honest. Of all of them, of all the cameos that they introduced in this movie. And yeah, that's essentially my thought on that. And also, there's a part of this movie that's in the end, is like, Lex is put in jail, and then Bruce Wayne comes to visit him. He's like, oh, don't worry, I know how you give me one put in check. But going to Arkham. And I'm just like, no, I'm like, it doesn't need to be. Completely doesn't need to be. But again, to give credit, and there's a part of me that says I don't want to do that, because there's a strong part of me that says I fucking hate this movie. And there's a big part of me that says I hate it for being so deceptive, so transparent and so boring and lazy and uninspired. And it feels like they're not like, to me at least, with such beloved, great superheroes like Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. It's like they have good actors, but they're not being used to such a great degree, and they're working with such stale material that makes me feel so much more upset. It's like, you got all this talent here. It's like, what to do with it? Idiots, you fucked it up. You royally fucked it up. Zack Snyder, man. Like, there's two movies in my mind that I really do like of his: 300 and Dawn of the Dead remake. I legitimately like both of those films a lot. Probably Dawn of the Dead a little bit more, but nonetheless, I really do like the films. It's like, aside from that, every other film of his, I think is just completely dumb. Parts of it, yes, there's parts of Watchmen I really do love, but as a whole, I think Watchmen is a bit of a boring movie, in my opinion. But again, in this movie, about movie Superman, is there anything good for me to say? Yes, I will say there's some things I do enjoy. Ben Affleck's approach on Bruce Wayne, which I thought was alright, and I'm like, okay, this is not bad. The action, I would be lying if I told you that, I was bored by so much of this stuff. It's like, I will say, there's some pretty impressive camera work and action type of set moments that I'm like, that's pretty awesome. There's a part where Batman kind of like comes out of the floor and attacks the villains in the final act. I'm like, that is cool. That really does remind me of the Arkham games, at least. And easily the best thing about this movie is the music. It definitely feels like the main theme by, I think it's Hans Zimmer. I forgot who did. I think that's the original Superman. I'm not 100% sure. I think it's Hans Zimmer, but whatever. The music is really great, and it definitely it's definitely better than the first Man of Steel, which kind of had pretty boring and forgettable music. This movie has really memorable music. So we get those 3 song things I did enjoy. I don't love to a certain degree, but I do enjoy them. But in the end, my mind still rests on the fact that this is not a good movie. It so badly misses the mark. It misrepresents the characters that I've grown up and loved as a kid. And in the end, for me, it just breaks my heart to see that they're going forward with this. I hope they're learning from the lessons. It's like, alright, Man of Steel, fool me once, shame on you. Batman v Superman, fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times with Suicide Squad, which I would easily say is the best of these 3 movies. But that's like saying last night's shit was much better than the night before shit. But nevertheless, the DCU movies are movies I'm literally starting to legitimately, or to at least in my view, personally speaking, are legitimately starting to piss me off as a fan. And for me, it makes me deeply upsetting of how they're taking this and moving into their own direction. Instead of trying to pay homage to the comics and reaching out to the fans. Say what you want to say about the Nolan Batman movies, but there's one thing that was 100% clear. Christopher Nolan was wanting to do what he wanted to do with the character of Batman, and I don't have a problem with that. But when you base it on material from comics, and you're saying, oh, okay, but I'm going to turn this into my perspective of it, then it's like, oh, come on, you gotta listen to the fans sometime. And the fans, who, I'm sorry to say this, know the best, who know this material better than the critics, they really should be notifying each other, and they should be, being consulted at least. But in the end, Batman v Superman had its, moments of fun. But in the end, my opinion still rests on the fact that Batman v Superman is fucking failure. it just... Relax. In the end, what do you say to such promising and yet so much of a failure material? This is definitely still for me one of the lesser films of the year. And I give Batman v Superman Ultimate Cut, or Batman v Superman overall, I would give it an overall rating of 27%. The good movies are good, but for anything that is weak or worse, royally fuck this movie. Fuck the hell I'm back. I'll see you in the future. Till then, yeah. The DCU movies, I think I'm deep trouble. Till then, bye.